We're back for the second round. So I'm just going to load up the replay here. In this matchup, I play against Esteem Moto Grinder Batutina. He's playing Black Green Rock, which is honestly historically a very miserable matchup for me. Because he does have pretty much all the removal in the world, and I simply don't have enough threats to really deal with much of it. I don't think he's playing the Obliterator version. I never saw an Obliterator in a single game, so that might be a good reason why I came out ahead. But I'm going to let you watch this. It's a pretty grindy matchup here, and it was very challenging, and I'm pretty sure I messed up a couple times. So he keeps... this hand is okay for me. I have a kind of a feeling that he was on kind of a rock deck or Jun because, from watching his stream in the past and everything. And so I'm going to keep this hand. It, has Lightning Bolt to take care of, turn 2 Bob or Goif. And overall, it's just pretty strong. He plays a Verdant, passes turn. That pretty much completely confirms the fact that he's on a Rock-type deck. I play my Tarn, and I'm just going to pass turn here. No real need to play the Gitaxian Probe on 1. There's really no rush to playing it until you really need to find out what's in their hand. Especially with, playing something like this. Kind of confirms exactly what he's running already. He plays an Overgrown Tomb, plays a Bob, passes turn. I'm going to go fetch, grab a Steam Vents, and bolt the Bob. And I'm not certain if this is right or not, but I'm going to be paying some life here. I'm going to take a look at his hand, because right now what I want to do is I want to be able to play Snapcast Probe and, just get a threat out on the board. His hand is Forest, Bob, Decay, Pulse, and Thrun. The Thrun's something that I'm going to need to race later on in the game. It's definitely something that I'm not going to be able to contain very fast. He's got, 1 Decay, 1 Pulse to get rid of, my combo pieces and Snapcasters. So I do need to make sure that I don't play both Pestermites out into that Pulse. And just hope, his removal can 1-for-1. I really do need to take care of that Bob, so one of these Snapcasters is going to stay back in my hand for this Lightning Bolt. Draw Forest, fine. I'm still going to play the Steam Vents here and play it tapped. Okay, so it looks like I did not just Snapcast and Probe again. I guess that was because I saw the other Bob. I want to retain both Snapcaster Mages. Okay, that's acceptable. He plays another Dark Confidant, plays Treetop Village. So at this point, he's got next turn Thrun out. The best thing I can do to really, keep that at bay, I've got 2 choices. I can either kill the Dark Confidant, let his Thrun resolve next turn, or I could Pestermite on his upkeep, let the Confidant live for another turn. I really don't think letting that Confidant live is going to do me any benefit. And the reason why is because, that Bob is going to grind so much advantage over the course of this game. The sooner I get it off the board, the better. If he, is able to untap with it, and, let's say, for example, I Pestermite on his upkeep. I tap down Treetop Village or Overgrown Tomb. He's going to decay Pestermite in response, or he's going to pulse it, or, whenever he feels necessary. His Bob's going to flip. He's going to get an extra card. He's still going to be able to have pulse slash, decay up depending on what he does. And it's not going to be a good scene for me. So I'm just going to go ahead and kill the Bob right away. So play Forest, Snapcast Bolt, and pass turn. Next turn, as intended, he plays Forest, plays Thrun, passes. So right now he's still got Abrupt Decay and Maelstrom Pulse in his hand. And goal is to kind of just manage around that. I'm going to leave Snapcaster back for blocking duty. And he's going to go play something for the turn. He's going to play Tarmogoyf, and I'm going to counter that. I'm going to go ahead and first play Pestermite. And my intention for that is I want to Pestermite, untap a land, remand the Tarmogoyf. Want to get another body out on the field. I want to give him a piece of bait for Abrupt Decay, or, if he has another land, for Maelstrom Pulse. And, if he does decide to take that bait, then he's got, the question of, do I attack with Thrun? Now, if I recast Tarmogoyf, that means that Thrun is held back for another turn. If he decides to bash in, I can double block, and at that point, he, can either use a removal spell or regen Thrun. So I'm going to go ahead and untap Sulphur Falls, cast Remand, draw Misty. He's going to get his 5th land, but it's a Treetop Village. And he's going to decline to, play anything else. He's going to bash in with Thrun. I'm just going to block with the Snapcaster Mage here. I did consider double blocking, but honestly, it gets me kind of the same result, or worse, actually. He's just going to kill one and, kill both of them and just regen. So block with Snapcaster. He passes turn. I'm going to untap, play Misty, crack it for an island, and Serum Visions. I really need the Serum Visions to be good right now. The Spell Snare is kind of good because it permanently deals with that Tarmogoyf that's in his hand. But it doesn't deal with his Decay, it doesn't deal with his Maelstrom Pulse, and I'm going to ship it to the bottom. I still have Remand, I still have Snapcast Remand, so I still have the ability to really get a lot out of it. I'm just going to bash in and say go. He's going to attack. He's going to main phase, Pulse the Pestermite, and I don't recall if I Remand this or not, but let's find out. I do. So I'm going to Snapcaster and Remand that. I'm going to hold up this Remand in my hand. I'm going to Remand that, and that's going to let me potentially block Thrun. Draws another card, draws a Serum Vision. Good for me. He's going to play Tarmogoyf. Alright. Bash in again. I'm going to block. Say go. So this is the Serum Vision that really mattered in this game. I'm going to Serum Vision, draw a card. I'm going to see a land that I put on the bottom, I believe, and I'm going to see a Tarmogoyf that I really want on top. The Tarmogoyf is crucial because it's going to be able to block his Goyf and potentially his Thrun over time if it grows big enough. So I'm going to keep that on top. Stomping Ground. Let's take a look here. Top. So I guess that was a land. I'm going to play a land here, and I'm going to go ahead and play tapped. And right now, I'm just going to bash in. My goal here was to, beginning of combat, tap down either a Tarmogoyf or something, or I could, play Exarch, untap a land, remand his Pulse again, and then block his Tarmogoyf. So he untaps. He goes ahead and just declares combat. So I'm just going to play Tarmogoyf, or I'm just going to play Deceiver Exarch, untap my Sulfur Falls, hold up Remand. I can still block his Goyf if he lets me. So he bashes in. He decays my Deceiver Exarch before blockers are declared. So right now I know he still has a Pulse in hand, and I don't know any other cards in his hand. So 1 Pulse and 2 blanks. He cracks in for 6, or for insanely 8 damage, brings me down to 6. I really need something next turn. He's going to Pulse. I'm going to Remand. Draw my Tarmogoyf. It's now a 4/5 because of, incidents in the yard. And I'm going to be able to block that Thrun profitably. Here's what he does this turn, though. He's going to Slaughter Pact. So that Slaughter Pact means that he's going to be constrained on mana, and potentially, he's going to either have to break this and bash in with Treetop Village, which is going to let me Pestermite Twin the next turn with this that I drew. We'll see what happens. I'm going to play Tarmogoyf. And I'm just going to pass turn. And this is really a very crucial turn right now. He could be drawing, a lot of things. I'm hoping that he doesn't run a second Slaughter Pack in the main deck, though I don't really see many lists doing so. He bashes in. He chooses to bash in with both his creatures. I block the Tarmogoyf, or the Thrun with my Tarmogoyf. And that's going to force him to decide if he wants to, spend mana on keeping Thrun up to potentially regen. He decides he does, which is fine. Brings me down to 2. He's got green up right now, and green doesn't represent anything. At this point, his thing is literally Slaughter Pack or die, or Dismember. So I'm going to Pestermite. I'm going to tap down his Treetop Village. He doesn't have Dismember. So it's literally, you either have Slaughter Pact or you just simply die. And I'm at a really low enough life total right now that I really can't afford to just sit back and wait for him to do something. If he untaps and I say, Cryptic Command, tap your guys down, draw a card, he's just going to activate the 2 Treetop Villages and kill me. If I say, Cryptic Command, tap your guys down, bounce a Treetop Village to your hand or something, he's still got 2 cards in hand, he's still got a Pulse. I really can't risk it, so I'm just going to go ahead and play Splinter Twin, hope it sticks, and it does. And yes, he does make me play through the motions, which is fine. It seriously takes all of a few minutes to do so anyways. And I pretty much kill him just like that. And I'm just going to end this replay here instead of boring you with this combo. For game 2, I sided in my Molten Rains. I sided in Batterskull. I'm pretty certain I cut a couple combo pieces. And let's take a look. Brought in Molten Rains and Threads, as well as Batterskull. Anger's not very good. Anger hits early Tarmogoyfs and all of 4 Dark Confidants. Bolts are better, Flame Slashes are better for that. I'm pretty sure I brought in either a Nature's Claim and or an Ancient Grudge to deal with his potential, Batterskulls or Spell Skites if he has any. Molten Rain is just part of a land destruction package, and it worked pretty well here. So he keeps on 7. This is the 7 that I keep. I'm most likely getting Thoughtseize turn 1 or turn 2, and the most valuable card here for me to potentially lose is that Threads. So he's going to play Marsh Flats, play Inquisition, and he's actually going to take the Remand. And that leads me to, understand that he's going to have a turn 2 threat, either a Tarmogoyf or a Bob or something, maybe a turn 3 Liliana. So I'm going to tap, draw Flame Slash, great draw here. I'm going to play Scalding Tarn and say go. Again, I don't need the information ASAP, because it's sort of cut and dry what he's going to really play out. He plays Tarmogoyf number 1. Still a 3/4, that's good for me. I'm going to end a turn fetch, grab Steam Vents. This is going to let me Flame Slash. I'm going to draw an island. I'm going to Flame Slash the Tarmogoyf. Play a Scalding Tarn, say go. He's going to play a land and not play anything for that turn. That's really good for me. I'm going to draw Molten Rain. And right now I'm going to crack this, grab a mountain, play my island, but I'm going to probe first. This is a kind of a turn where I wanted some information to find out, is Molten Rain going to be really good next turn? How is it really going to do? And it looks fantastic. He's got an Overgrown Tomb and a Tectonic Edge here. My goal this turn is not to extract infinite value with that Molten Rain. I just want to set him back to 2 lands. So this way he can't, rip that Thrun off the top or anything. So I'm just going to go ahead and Molten Rain. I'm going to take out his Black Source. And he's going to, in response, fetch, grab another one. I considered leaving up Remand instead, but I ultimately decided to go this path. I wanted to get to Snapcast Molten Rain as fast as I could. So he's going to tap, play Overgrown Tomb, tapped, pass turn. I'm going to draw Snapcaster. That's good for me. So right now, I'm going to go ahead and, play Snapcast into Probe. I see pretty much the same things. And I draw Pestermite. Then taps, plays Tectonic Edge. And he currently casts Maelstrom Pulse on Snapcaster Mage. That's really fine with me. I really don't care about that. And he passes. I'm going to fetch. I'm going to draw a land. And right now I'm going to do it again. I'm going to Snapcast Molten Rain, take out his Overgrown Tomb. And this sets him back to 3 lands, 3 permanents versus my 6. And I feel like it's a good play at this point. He pulses again. That's pretty insane. Takes a Verdant Catacomb. Okay. I draw Batterskull, and I play Batterskull. And, at this point, I'm going to start beating in with a Germ Token. He plays a Treetop Village for the turn, and at this point I believe he's still got Abrupt Decay in his hand and 1 blank card. He's going to Tectonic Edge the Steam Vents to keep me off of double Molten Rain, and I feel like it's the best one to get me out of, especially when he's been hit twice by it so far. there is an argument for getting rid of the breeding pool instead to potentially turn off any future Tarmogoyfs, but I guess this is what he prioritized more in this game. He plays his Dismember, killing my Germ token. Goes to 13 to 12. He passes turn. I untap, I draw Serum Visions, so I'm going to cast Serum Visions first. And I draw Serum Visions, and I see a Molten Rain and a Forest. And, my first thought is that Molten Rain doesn't look very attractive with just this Forest. I'm going to need a second red source. So pretty stupidly, I ship this Molten Rain to the bottom, and that Forest on top. And then I go ahead and do it again, and now I see a Sulphur Falls. And, well, honestly, great fucking life right there. I really could have just cast that Molten Rain next turn anyways. So I'm going to put the Bolt on top, Sulphur Falls on top. I want both of them. And my goal right now is, maybe I want to return that Batterskull to my hand at a turn, depending on what he does. So beginning of his upkeep, I'm going to play Pestermite. I'm just going to tap down his Treetop Village here. My goal with this play was to keep him from being a little bit aggressive. In retrospect, I probably should have just let him do what he wanted there, and kind of reacted from there. He's going to decay my Pestermite. I'm going to choose a non-untapped Treetop Village. He's going to pass. I'm going to play my Sulphur Falls, say go. So my next turn is going to be spent returning Batterskull to my hand, playing it again. This is a pretty sweet draw. He draws Tarmogoyf. I'm going to remand it so I can cycle. No. Yes. Draw Bolt. He's going to cast again. Fine. Return Batterskull to hand, end of turn. This turn, I have the chance to, make a series of plays here. I can replay Batterskull. I can Threads the Tarmogoyf instead. I choose to ultimately play the Batterskull, and the reason why I choose to play the Batterskull is because I want to be able to have that presence on board in case, I Threads, he decays, and then gets way ahead. So that's what I do. He's already used, 2 of his pulses. I'm pretty sure 2 is probably how much he runs anyways. So I play Batterskull, leave up Lightning Bolt mana, and say go. He casts Inquisition, and he takes my Snapcaster Mage, and does not attack with Tarmogoyf. He doesn't want the Tarmogoyf to get bolted down. This turn, I'm going to attack in, see what happens there, offer the trade. I'm going to Serum Visions first. Draw Stomping Ground, see Molten Rain and Pestermite. I want both of these at this point. I want to be able to tap down something later on, and as well as destroy permanent. So I believe I do keep the Molten Rain on top, and let's see here. I do keep the Pestermite right underneath it. Combat, swing in, he declines the block. Life total's 9 to 16. I'm a couple bolts away from killing him. I'm going to play the Stomping Ground, and I'm going to play this one tapped. And I decide later on in the turn that I am going to just cast Threads. To take his Tarmogoyf and leave Bolt up. He is going to end of turn back to nature and destroy all enchantments. He's probably saving that for a Splinter Twin. Tarmogoyf is now a 5/6. It's now pretty serious. He's going to drop his Thrun that he top decks here and pass the turn. This is where I make a pretty bad play. I start out by Molten Rain on Overgrown Tomb. Probably should have done it on Treetop Village instead. And I do it in such a way that prevents me from actually bolting him. So this becomes a really awkward turn where I bash in, he blocks with the Goyf, and, I go to 20, that's great, but now he's got 9 power worth of creatures, or, 12 power worth of creatures here, and I don't have a single way to deal with it. This was a really terrible punt on my end. I really should have lost the game for this. In retrospect, I should have tapped Mountain, Stomping Ground, and Forest in order to do this. I really, did this way too quickly. So he's going to try to punish me for this. He's going to play Dark Confidant. He's going to bash in for 9, bring me down to 11. I'm literally 1 hit away from dying. Okay, so I'm going to return Batterskull to my hand, and in return, I'm going to draw that Pestermite. And this is seriously the most difficult turn for me. I have a couple lines of play here, and a couple ones that I was thinking of. I could say, wait for his, Confidant trigger because he's at 7, hope he flips like a 3 or 4, and then bolt, the Confidant in response, or bolt him to kill him, or, play, Pestermite during combat step to tap a Tarmogoyf and then bolt whatever was needed, or, just play bolt on Bob and then tap down Tarmogoyf Pestermite. I decided that I wanted to have a bigger board presence right now, so I ended up playing Pestermite untapped land into Batterskull. It was really a difficult decision to make. I don't know if that was the right one. Feel free to share your insight on that. But that's what I do end up going for. I end up playing Pestermite after much deliberation, untap land, play Batterskull, go with the hope that next turn I could equip Batterskull onto Pestermite and kind of deal enough damage. So he flips. Obviously a land, Woodland Cemetery. So he's seen an extra card for free, whereas he would have blanked on Woodland Cemetery instead. And he goes in and bashes in with just the Tarmogoyf. I guess he wants to keep Thrun up for something. I go ahead and block the Tarmogoyf with the Germ token, with the reasoning being, well, if I'm going to equip to Pestermite anyways, I might as well do so ASAP and gain some life out of it. So I do so. I go up to 15. He plays the best card in the world that I could hope for. He plays Scavenging Ooze, which, right now, 4 plus 2 is 6, plus 3 is 9. And he can only gain 2 life. So at this point, I seriously have the game locked up. Kind of had no business winning this game based on, what I feel was a miserable play, not leaving out Bolt. But that's what happened. Bash in for 6, Bolt, and that's the match.